Oh, David, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really
Oh, it's
appreciate
really
it.
great to be here, mate. Yeah,
I
fucking
was
amazing, mate, to get into everything. Yeah.
oh yeah, because I posted a video the other day, and people
Mm.
actually were quite critical because I made the claim that the Earth was not didn't go through the what was actually taught in the schools and stuff. It was, the not that there's a plate tectonic shift, but that the Earth is actually expanding, and that the human, I guess, animal is way older than what paleo people would say.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's a really good topic. Um, I think there's a couple of things we could get to. One of the things that I was asked to do a little bit was really about kids and what can parents actually. But where would we get to and what would we do first? Because actually it was like instructions to parents, I think is really pretty good. Like what's going on where kids are and what could be said a bit about this. Do you have a feeling that that's something which topic might we do first, mate? Yeah.
Oh, I I'm always thinking about my kids and how they're doing and their life,
Right.
our life together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
I'd
true.
love to hear about that.
In fact, it's truly true that blood should be flowing really nice and discreet. Yes. And when somebody goes gets their blood checked out, they can kind of get a sense of what this is. But if you're fit and you really got your fitness and you've got a good cycle happening where you wake in the morning and you're sleeping at night and you don't have sleep onset, types of conditions where children are and things. But it's just the same as it is for adults. It's micronutrient and has that osmolytic element and how the pancreas functions itself. Blood, you could imagine it's supposed to be really nice and healthy. And the red blood corpuscle, you've got iron, and you've really got to carry that in the hemoglobin. And, you could look under the eyelid and you could see how much colour is there. And under the eyelid, and you can see if someone's really got good hemoglobin, you're going to see a nice, colour there. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty, pretty pale, actually. And the absorption of nutrients, where anybody is, really could be complicated by intestinal injury and all sorts of surgeries which could have gone on and drugs that was used for that, and any increased condition that was where some susceptibleness was to infection and this sort of a thing. And environments where gastrointestinal sorts of conditions could be something which is not uncommon that children, complain from. But we could talk a little bit about symptoms just in a minute. But if someone, of course, like for me, I was really care so much that parents could have some product and stuff that could help them. Where iron is, of course, ascorbic types of materials are so important to absorb iron so that you're making blood, for instance. And the digest aid and the life hydrate, very small pinch, like 6 milligrams per day, really is often lacked. And these product and things really cause us, wherever anything is in an osmolytic element, to be a nutrient which comes in, and that causes the pancreas to start to thin its fluids more. Because osmolytic element is what's missing when the pancreas doesn't have its fluids, like sodium, for instance, which often is something which is not really being kept where children are, and you've got diabetes type 1 and type 2, but it really is stone in the pancreas. When the pancreas doesn't secrete what it should or could, iron absorption and these sorts of things really kind of not kept up as they can. I mean, wherever in a program that you could learn more about that, excessive cortisol was, those are things which could really be healed more. And then dried fruit, and then dark green just a little bit, first things, and sea veggies and things like that. You've got enzymes that can help detox the body and help bring things in that help cause you to have a bit more tight junctions in the intestine. The digest aid is really assist with all these things which we just talked about. It's designed for, and then otherwise, like children could have had a little rapid, irregular beat of their heart. I mean, they could have had cold hands and feet. And they could have had short breath, and their skin could have been a bit pale, and they kind of might have been a bit tired and weak. And restless leg syndrome is something which you could see that often goes on, and it's really iron which should be stored as ferritin, and via these ferroportin portals that draws mineral and things in, lost, of course, because the enterocyte shed, which means sort of like cells which line the passageway there, have been shedding because caustic mix existed because the acid from the tummy wasn't being neutralised by the bicarbonate elements and north negative substance from the pancreas like it should. And then any nose breathing, of course, through sleep, all of it helps that. It helps the condition to be cleared up, but mouth breathing doesn't, of course. So microlytic element, really like vitamin A and folate, copper, and these are sorts of things where children they could really be lacking vitamin D and not able to properly make trans fatty acids because omega-6, omega-3, omega-9s, these sorts of things really are made more from a monofat saturated fat like oleic acid, and then those chains are grown. But then who's bringing in fats like that, which they should, which is olive oil, palm, coconut, avocado. These are sort of pretty good oils where children are. Because kids, adults as well, could not have ease of ability to manage sodium, that's a very big thing that has to be kept up on a regular basis for children. It takes 6-7 months for adults who just all of a sudden got into a lack of mineral, and they've sort of got to build that in and bring that in every day, matter of fact. Otherwise, they could really lack sodium. And when that sodium is present, it causes the fluids to more flow in the pancreas. And when sodium is not present, the body wants to sort of like have not much fluid there at all, and so it sort of kind of coagulates the whole thing. And your essential fatty acids, which one should have, one can only have because you've got proper pancreatic fluids working. I mean, that's the only way that you could get vitamin D, or you could actually get minerals like zinc. And these are sorts of things which is in Jubb's black cabbage truffle, the formula. They could really be helpful. It's sort of things which are osmolytic and they could be absorbed right across the cell membrane. And there's things that's like that you've got to start to think of that can actually help heal up conditions where people are. But otherwise, you've got absorbables, and what is really absorbable, they can actually get across a cell. You've got epithelial cells. Those are the cells which line our passageway, and life colloid, like the life colloid that we have, which is like phytoplankton that would be on the outside of vegetable and things like that, which is really not too much found in the modern world today because everything is so sterile. But that life colloid really causes a stimulation of hydrochloric acid in the upper stomach. It's a primary force that actually causes high enough hydrochloric acid to guard against parasite and things, to block and stop parasite from entering into the intestine from the upper stomach, which they ordinarily wouldn't, that you've got proper hydrochloric acid. But when you're missing sodium, your body's not able to have held it, and sodium chloride, and somebody doesn't have the ability to make hydrochloric acid and these things. Suddenly, but seafood stuffs can be not so digested like they should be, and where the life colloid really has iron in it, of course, and so, but parents could note more about phytate and phytic acid, and then nuts, if they were eaten, they should be more activated, and so that the phytate and phytic acid in them, and lignin and that sort of thing could be dissolved a lot more out of it. I mean, it's easier to digest when they're soaked and then dried and then salted some with ocean wind evaporated salt, which is the only sort of salt which somebody should be using. But nice. where pain and things are, one can't eat too much high protein, certainly not too much fat, but has to be able to develop a fitness for that. Back again, which our program really more is a bit about. But the pigment being reduced where a pancreas is needing to be rested, that's so important because high pigment can really cause it to be suffered a bit more. I mean, then because cortisol could be reduced because children could be relaxed more in the way that anybody talks or something, and that the sweetness of their own life is so important because that's the very thing which causes the pancreas to function. And where cortisol is and somebody's lost the sweetness of life, the pancreas also really does suffer because of that as well. I mean, so a decrease in iron absorption is for sure a condition where the pancreas need to be reconditioned a bit. I mean, then somebody could do that by castor pack some, and sometimes I even need it because it could be inflamed. But you're reducing the discomfort and things like that. And then product that we have like this Digest Aid and the ECT are designed to actually assist to help more nootropic, meaning it can pass right through the cell membrane into the nucleus more. And these are really much needed nutrient, which is exocrine, like gland element and things. And you need vitamin A, D and E and K and L and things like this, which is really more somebody's compounding things that's put together to help where children are, or of course adults similar. You've got cystic fibrosis, that's where children are. And who is ever talking a bit about what that is, and do you know what the symptoms of this is? But of course pancreatic dysfunction or kidney conditions and things all show typically it is that that serves bariatric various sorts of surgeries which could have been done for kidney and fibrocystic conditions could have been the very condition which really created that in the very beginning, and that these are things could be healed if somebody knows more what's going on and how each organ and how the kidneys, for instance, are supported not only that you've got proper liver function and pancreas function. So selenium, which is found in our product, of course, and zinc and calcium and magnesium and things, so very important wherever surgery or injury ever was. And the magnesium really, like in the blue manner, it's a very, very small amount. And for an adult, just to put like a third of a teaspoon is 300% of what you would regularly require. So you only need a very small amount, and you've got 100% of the magnesium that's used. But it really reduces premature protease activation. And it means that where protein is getting broken down and protein is stimulated more, where it shouldn't be, it's magnesium that helps calm and relax all of that. Without magnesium, that doesn't go on, and so you've got a lot of premature protease types of activation, and errors and things. But protein is protein not being cleared down, and so you need these cold shock protein and things, which ubiquitin in the formula addresses ever more where pancreatic injury or harm is. So lemon and bicarb shots and things just like that can assist because elastase levels, which a test could be done if it was greater than 500 nanograms per gram, it means that you've got really something that's very high more. One can tell how much condition is going on where substances are present very high. It shows that the turnover rate of cells in the intestine is really high. And so today there's things that somebody could do a little bit more, but we could guarantee that these are sorts of things going on where anemia is. And apple cider vinegar and those sorts of things really does improve insulin secretion for children and, of course, adults as well. And so the effects really on the mucus production and fluid really that would have thickened otherwise is starting to be thinned more when you're doing the life hydrate and you bring in a small amount of this in. Just a couple of ounces 4 or 5 times a day is enough for like a 4 or 5 year old. And a lack of bicarb acid imbalance in the blood must be because hypercapnia was, which must be corrected, of course, so nose breathing is. Otherwise, you've got a transmembrane conductance regulator, which isn't able to really function without proper N-acetylneurominic acid, which is vitamin L or life hydrate. And that's one of the reasons why we have this as a product, life hydrate. So most white people, more where European ancestry is very, very high, conditions of cystic fibrosis amongst in the world, and it's because it's very high condensed food that brought in, and sediment can be not so easy to actually be able to deal with. But it really is quick smart. You could see that it causes a cold more, an inherited types of condition, which if two parents who have had a bit of a condition like that, two copies of a defective gene, could have been a sticky mucus, and a mutation of this CFTR, gene, this transmembrane conductance regulator. It causes cystic fibrosis because that transference regulator sort of doesn't exist as much, and so salts and minerals aren't really kept proper, and so this is a problem because sodium chloride really is very important because you've got a sodium potassium pump as to get work done, and so this becomes more a mitochondrial challenge, and so there you can see sort of people feel fatigue and loss of this sort of thing. And the reason why we recommend sun-dried, wind-evaporated ocean salt, like flowers of the seas and things like this, and salt transports. These are all sorts of things which ordinarily would have been a defect, but actually has to be corrected. Otherwise, that salt loss really is like, dogs want to lick your leg sort of thing. And the fluid imbalance really is all sensed. And then that sticky saliva, dehydration and dry eyes, and those sorts of things, which really kind of increase the transport of salt across the airway, aligning and leaving the body ever more in a more dehydrated state. But you could imagine that actually where fear is, or sort of upset is, and how much saliva do you have in your mouth after that, or is it really dry, let's say, if it is because the pancreas isn't really functioning right, and that fear would have ordinarily caused saliva not to be present quite, and those are sorts of things which somebody could see that cystic fibrosis is part of the condition which generally always then could be causing various kidney sorts of injury and conditions to be as well. And healing up the cystic fibrosis by making sure salts are present, now you're going to open up the kidney and cause the kidneys to function properly. But otherwise sticky mucus and things can cause it not to function. And these things can be corrected without necessary surgery. And aminoglycoside and things like this, which is non-steroidal types of anti-inflammatory drugs, which immune suppress. You see, it really stops the blocks that transport of this chloride molecule, which is supposed to be an orthonegative, which is going to be really secreted. And you must need that to have adenosine triphosphate at the mitochondrial level to have energy if you're a child. Otherwise, oral, consume sort of salts and things that's like that, where sun-dried, ocean wind evaporated salts brought to things that's so important, and that can prevent dehydration. Otherwise, one could really not have anything really move much through the duct. It's got to be more thinned. And mucus and these sorts of things must be more thinned. And so to have a really effective, good, what's most really in need really is sodium. And who's thinking about this, especially like something from the ocean that's wind evaporated like it's supposed to be, and so that's orthophilic in its state, meaning it's got amphoterics, amphiphilics, and it's got permittivity. Somebody could learn actually a bit more about that, but salt and mineral all should be orthophilic in itself and have these three properties. If it doesn't, it really is not too much anything that's ecological in the body, because you're not designed to grind up rocks and then give them to your baby sort of thing. So sodium really needs to be more managed, and blood sugar, and very small amount, like an 1/18 of a teaspoon really of salt through the day for children and things is really so much, very much helpful, because sodium, as I said, really could be not necessarily being kept and easily lost. And once that goes on, there's a lot of other challenges really go on, where children can be not necessarily really thriving like they really should. But assisting really cell more absorption, everybody can really face more special issues and things like that, which is relevant more to sleep, by understanding what the sleep habit is, and sleep onset and these sorts of things can be corrected by the hot bath type of effect. But realizing where sadness is, of course, it is really a loss of sodium, and frustration is really a loss of iron and these sorts of things, and not necessarily keeping those things proper. But it's really important that mostly these states are like intelligent, of course, but not to be stuck in any one of these states. But where somebody is stuck in ruminating, it's absolute that neurotransmitters could be not necessarily really being made like they can, and detoxing from toxin isn't really occurring like it really could either. And so that starts to ever get more poor sleep habit, more frustration, more sadness, more depression, more resentment sort of thing. For decreased sort of pleasure really could have been, and 50% of those people really have degrees of sorts of insomnia. So, when you're looking at the whole picture, you're going to get a better result, aren't you? Otherwise, you've got polyp formations and these sorts of things which form in the body, and just coming full circle, it really is more micronutrient, osmolytic element, more where you have proper pancreatic function. Anyway, for those that sort of be interested to listen, what's going on for children, it's certain that these are things which then cause, malady and these sorts of things more as adults move on. And how about we could learn a little bit more about live food and this sort of thing, and consider what the value is of doing some cleansing and things, and learning how important max the pancreas is, and helping heal things more naturally. And there's things that you could do to help learn how to look at things ever more natural. I think that's a pretty good topic that we could have covered just for the parents and the kids just for a moment, and we could just go on to the next topic a little bit about the age of the Earth, which that's a really good one, Lukey. How about you just give me a call back? Just we'll come right back in 5 minutes, and we'll kick off with that topic. Okay. Yeah. Okay, mate. Okay. Talk in 5 minutes. Love that.